everybody. Happy Sunday to you. What y'all got going on? It looks like it's me and Brenda and her special guest. If this is your first time joining me, say hey to Brenda. Hey, Brenda.
Hey, Ms.B. How are you?
I'm excited to see you once a month. This is exciting. The first Sunday of every month, Brenda Coles, the president of the National Action Network Richmond chapter, comes and joins me with a special topic. And as always, it is riveting. This time, it is even better. Um, Well, I'm sorry. My facial expressions gives everything away. So I hope you can see that I'm happy and I'm excited. But more importantly, to have Brenda Coles here with us and her special guest, we have a very special topic. And Brenda's been with us for a while, but for some of you who may be new, Brenda, just tell them a little bit about you and then segue into the topic for today.
Well, thank you, Ms.B. It's always a pleasure to be on the show, and I just want to thank you always for just giving us a platform, because this is very important. We got too many people out here that are that is in the need of being heard. And of course, I'm Brenda Coles, the president for the Richmond, Virginia chapter of the National Action Network, but I'm also the president for the state of Virginia and West Virginia. And of course, NAN is founded and national president is Reverend Al Sharpton. And on a national level, we are doing so many things as well, of course, here on our local. Of course, our chapter is extremely active and very busy. And we work with a majority of our people that we're working with, especially right now since the death of George Floyd. We got a lot of our brothers and sisters that we're dealing with that are incarcerated, whether or not they are wrongfully convicted or they are returning citizens. We also have a lot of death that's happening within our prison system. And not only that, but just not just death from what's going on the outside, but also what's going on the inside. But we have all types of housing issues, children, and our J&D courts. It doesn't matter what type of issue that you have. We deal with those issues. Now, some people come to us with issues that really, they are not civil rights issues. I just want to be very clear. We have issues that we can certainly give you resources, but every issue is not a civil rights issue. And I think in my experience of the 40 years of my experience, you will have a lot of people that when they see certain things, they want to jump on and say, okay, this is a civil rights issue. Every issue is not a civil rights issue. We can handle issues that are not civil rights issues, but majority of our issues with the National Action Network are dealing with civil rights issues. Please reach out to me, 804-426-6308, if you have an issue, or certainly send me an email at richmondva.nan@comcast.net. Again, that's richmondva.nan@comcast.net. Now, when you do contact NAN, you will have to go first to the national website and file your complaint. And then I will be able to pick it up at that point. And I do contact you. So if you have a question, please reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to do that. I want to segue into our topic today, because this is something that is very personal for me as well. Nikia Miller she's my guest for today, and I'm happy that we have her on, because we need to have people to understand one thing when it comes to our schools. There's a lot that's going on in our schools with our children, and families and parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, whomever are the caretakers of the children that are in our schools. And this is very important for you to stay very much aware and very much involved and engaged, because our children are suffering in ways a lot of times that we don't even know. And in this particular case, Nikia Miller and her husband, they got 3 fantastic children. I haven't had the opportunity to meet her, and I'm glad that we have NAN, Richmond, Virginia NAN, is standing in solidarity with her for her child, her 8-year-old daughter, Celeste, was raped in the school bathroom and in Hampton for 2 years. Now, let me say something about that. For those that are very much aware that my son Elijah, at the age of 11 years old, he was sexually assaulted on the school bus. Now, Elijah and I was very close. And when someone say, well, why didn't they know? Why didn't the parents know? Well, that's not always going to be true. Because Elijah, as close as Elijah and I was, he did not come to me and tell me right away. He did not. I did not. I saw some withdrawals, but his grades didn't suffer at that time. And there's just a lot of things that you don't see. So in a lot of cases, when people start questioning, just be very much aware. When children are processed, and when they are processing, what happens? Now, Elijah eventually did come to me, and it was also videotaped. In this case, with Ms. Miller, her daughter was threatened by the child and told her that if you tell your mother, I will kill you. So this child, this baby, had to feel like she had to take something to protect her mother. And when you're at that age, that's all you're thinking about. I don't want my mommy to be hurting. So, and it's devastating. This is devastating. And when people think it's just happened to that child, no, it does not. It is going on with the entire family, with the community, with the schools. Because this child didn't not just do this. Now we're talking about another young child, because the child that assaulted her child, Mrs. Miller child, she's only a year older. So what's going on with that child? What's going on with that child? Now, one thing I love about Miss Miller never attacked the other child. And that's what we don't do, because we also know that child has a problem and there needs to be some help. That is a learned behavior. That is something that child has seen. That is something that child something has been done to her. But the bottom line is this: the school failed Celeste. The teachers, the principals, the administrator, the police department, Commonwealth attorney for Hampton, they all failed Celeste in keeping her safe. And this family have every right to be angry about this situation. But we're going to now bring on Ms. Miller so we can further discuss, this issue with her daughter and where they are. And we actually, the Richmond, Virginia chapter, NAN, and our members went down to Hampton on last Wednesday and standing in solidarity and speaking to the school board. For those of you that do have Facebook, it certainly is on Facebook, where you can see where we did speak. And what was so heartbreaking is Mrs. Miller's oldest daughter going up and speaking about her sister and the change that she see in her sister. And it was heartbreaking to watch that. And anybody that did see that, if you haven't seen it, please get out there and go see it. And so we're going to bring on Miss Miller.
I'm going to make it available on my YouTube channel as well. I'll add the link to this video once it's posted. But that being said, Nikia Miller, thank you so much for joining me. I understand that you are on the road, but you have taken the time to join us. Thank you so much. Are you there? Can you hear us?
Yes, I'm here, and I appreciate you having me on your show. If I break up, that is 100% my responsibility. I'm on the road from a graduation celebration for a family member. But if I'm breaking up too bad, just please let me know and blame it on my head and not my heart.
Absolutely.
Not a problem. Welcome again. Brenda has given us an overview of what has been going on in your life. Tell us how did you find out, and how long has it been since you found out?
Well, I found out the principal at my daughter's elementary school called me. It was the week before the pandemic, and he told me about what had occurred. At that time, he told me that my daughter's assailant had confessed and, broke down the, kind of the A, B's, and C's of what occurred. Um, I got to the school, and the principal, the assistant principal, my daughter's teacher, the school resource officer, and the guidance counselor were all in a conference room. And I got a chance to see my daughter, and after I cried for about 20 minutes, I had a chance to speak with her about what had occurred. Um, at this point, it's been 15 months since the school board was informed of what happened to Celeste.
I have a lot of questions, but I know we're on a time frame. So Celeste is now in counseling. Is that correct?
Yes, she is in counseling. She goes to therapy once a week.
Has she shown any positive progress?
She has, but in this situation, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, and it's taking the support of our entire family in order to try to just give her a sense of calm and, you know, just allow her to be at a baseline. She's in therapy. I'm also in therapy as her support. Hampton City Schools refused to reimburse for my therapy. They stated that they would pay the $15 a week for Celeste therapy, but as of today, they haven't given us a dime.
I wanted to give, hold on, Brenda, I'm going to give you a chance to speak. I wanted to give Celeste some support before we got into the technicalities behind the responses, not only from the school board system, law enforcement, and other involved people concerning this case. Brenda, would you like to make a statement before I continue with Nikia?
Yes, I want to just say what the Celeste parents were requesting from Hampton City Schools. It was absolutely not much at all. Making sure that Celeste is put into a private school of their choice for her safety is absolutely nothing for that school to be able to do. That's their obligation. That's what they should do. The other thing is paying for Celeste therapy from not just for now, but ongoing until she does not need it any longer, no matter how long that takes. That is absolutely their duty and their responsibility after knowing what happened to that child in that school for 2 years. For them not to have responded or done anything or say that they're going to do it and have not done it at this point is shameful. It's absolutely shameful. So I wanted to add that part in. And so, Benita, go ahead. You go ahead with your next. I'm sorry, Ms.B. Go ahead with your next question.
Nikia, she has clarified that you all were not asking for an astronomical settlement or anything like that. You just wanted some support for your daughter, as well as yourself as being the main support for your daughter in this situation, which pretty much was pay for the services of counseling. Now, you just had the meeting. Would you like to give an overview of your opinion of how successful or not successful was that hearing?
Well, this is the thing. I do want to kind of break down how the requests have escalated. The initial request from Hampton City Schools was first, because Celeste's grades didn't change during that period, which is the reason why my husband and I were not alarmed, in any capacity, was because her grades were stellar. And I asked for Hampton City Schools to evaluate her for gifted programming because if she could keep her grades up while this is going on, imagine what she can do when it's not. They initially refused to test her for gifted programming, but they actually did, and she did not qualify, and I'm okay with that. That I just wanted her tested. Then I asked for them to allow Celeste placement at the School of Art Family's Choice, which they refused. I asked for the therapy reimbursement, which they wouldn't do mine, but they said that they would pay for Celeste's therapy, but only if she remained in Hampton City Schools. And then I asked for assurances that Celeste and her assailant would never be in the same school, and that Celeste be provided priority. So if Celeste was at a certain elementary school, this child would not be. If Celeste was at a middle school, this child would not be, and so on and so forth. And they refused all of those requests. Once we found out that the disciplinary actions of Hampton City Schools were abysmal at best, and my daughter's assailant is back in regular classes and is in the same class as our younger cousin, that's when I requested private school. And the request was private school tuition, the therapy costs, and then there was a minimal pain and suffering amount tied on the demand letter so that they had the capacity to just come back with tuition and therapy costs, and we would have accepted that. The way that Hampton City Schools responded is they had an outside attorney state, even if your client is seen in the most favorable circumstances, the Hampton City School Board nor any of its employees accept any liability. And they also said that they would pay that they're making an offer in good faith to pay $15 a week for Celeste therapy, but only if she was still enrolled in Hampton City Schools. The attorney didn't even take the time to look to see if she was still enrolled, which would have been a simple query, a simple lookup. But with the 2 school board meetings that I have attended, there have been no responses. In other avenues, I've spoken to 2 members of the school board with no action. It's just, I think that their position is that if they choose not to respond, then either we'll give up or run out of money.
That ain't gonna happen either way.
Yeah.
But
it's not
Nikia,
going down.
I am standing in agreement with Nan and all of your other supporters. I am extending my sincere prayers for not only Celeste, but the entire family, because what impacts her impacts everybody. And I really appreciate you taking the time to share your thoughts. And we are going to continue with this interview without you. I pray that you have a safe travel, and we will be getting back with you with a potential future interview about further results as far as Celeste for Justice is concerned. We're going to share the group and your contact information. But again, I thank you so much, and my prayers are with you.
Let me say
Thank you
something before
so
she
much for
go.
having me.
Just before she go, let me say one other thing. I'm going to make sure of one thing that we're going to do this week. Several things that I would have liked to have seen have done. First, a protective order could have been placed on the child. It was just, if that protective order was placed there, they would have had no choice but to remove the child out of the school. Um, and in most cases, especially like this, even though the child is very young, it's going to be the decision of the judge of whether or not to place that protective order, especially depending on the situation, this particular circumstances. The other thing is this that we are going to do this week. We're going to reach out to the elementary education director, which is Anita Owens, Dr. Anita Owens. She is the director. She is actually should have been the person, and let me make this very clear. She should have been the person that already have reached out to Mr. and Mrs. Miller about their child. Uh, it is baffling to me that the elementary education director have not reached out. But that's something we're going to do. We're going to reach out to her, and then we're going to request a meeting from her and the superintendent of Hampton City Schools, which is Dr. Jeffrey Smith. Um, so Dr. Smith, I'm not surprised that wouldn't have reached out. However, Dr. Owens should have reached out, and now is just the time to request a meeting for both of them and go back in to talk about what is in the best interest of Celeste, but of Celeste and also for the other children in Hampton City Schools. Because one thing I, as a mother with a child that's been also sexually assaulted, one thing we need to realize as parents, as adults, as citizens of this country is that if this has happened to Celeste, it will happen to another child. So we have to prevent this from continuing to happen. The school systems always look at it as, well, this child also have to get an education. We're not saying that the child should not get an education or be put out of um, a school, but it does not mean that she need to be in the same school with Celeste, or better yet, put Celeste back into a school where she can feel safe and secure. And that if that means that Hampton needs to pay for her private schooling or whatever school that the family choosing, then that is what we're not going to stop making sure of. And I
And
just
I
want to
want
say that before Mrs. Miller get off the line.
and I want to piggyback off of what you just said. Um, the thing is that from the beginning of this, it has been, you know, it's never been about money. It's always been about the best, you know, doing the best possible thing for Celeste so that she feels safe and so she can thrive in a school environment. And, you know, we've, from the beginning of this, we've asked like relatively low lifts, things that they could have done, immediately. At the school board meeting from this past Wednesday, it was interesting to me that before the public comment period, they were talking about their budget. And it was, I want to say, the budget was listed as $175 million. They also allotted $150K to rename 5 schools in Hampton um, who had names tied to the Confederacy. But when you have a child who was raped in the bathroom of your elementary schools, asking for $120 a week for therapy costs, and then everything else that was asked for wouldn't have cost Hampton City Schools a dime in the beginning. And they've taken this hard line that they're not going to provide that relief for my daughter. And then, we go even more forward where private school tuition, which is something that they didn't have to provide to my husband and I, but they could just pay directly to the school until she graduates. And that, you know, they just take double down on not supporting Celeste when she was violated on their watch. And that's
right.
where it just gets, you know, relatively stupid.
Yeah, and you're right, and so I tell you, Miss Miller, that's like I say, I will be getting with you. I know you're traveling, but we're going to be getting together, and we're going to finish up with what it is that we need to do to bring the attention. And of course, we're not getting off of that. But I want to thank you. You all have a safe trip, and we will be speaking soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye now. I heard her in the background. She said, bye.
That's her.
You are very familiar with this case, and
Yes.
I am looking forward to continuing this discussion, either clarifying what she said with better audio or additional information that we may need. But before we move forward, I'm going to take a short break and gather my emotions because, yeah. Yeah, I need to get because, you know, as a woman of faith, my hairs are standing on the back of my neck. But as a Black female and a mother, I can honestly say I'm pissed. I'm hurt. I'm hurt for the victim. I'm hurt for the young child who had to eventually confess to the behavior. I'm hurt. I'm hurt all the way around. But the anger comes from the response or lackadaisical sincerity of those who could make life a little bit more comfortable for Celeste and the child who committed these offenses. So we're going to take a short break, come back, and Brenda is going to take us to the end with clarification of the things that she said and other information that may help us to help Celeste. Just hold on a second. Thank you. Hey everybody, this is Ms.B, Positively Ms.B, right here with my buddy, my pal, my friend, my thing and other categories, Miss Brenda Coles. Hey Brenda.
Hello.
I tell you what, man, I had to do a 30-second regroup because this interview, again, before I move forward, let me just say I have all intentions of bringing Miss Nikia Miller back with a continuation of her interview with hopefully better audio and surroundings, because there's a lot more that we can ask, not just to continually put Celeste out in front, but this is happening so many other places that are not being told, and how many other students have been impacted by this one child in that same school system. Because if she did it to one, who's to say she hasn't done it to others? They just have not come forward. So there's a lot of information that I want to get from her personally, but right now Brenda is going to give us some more information about the case. But before we move forward, what you just saw was a short clip of me, Miss B. That's right. Who knew? Miss B is on TV. That's right. Every Friday morning, 9 a.m. East Coast time, I'm on the Preach the Word Network, which also airs on local channel in Atlanta. I'm on DirecTV, Roku TV, Daystar, and many other television stations that could give you my show, which is simply, if it's true, how's it working for you? What I do is I give you scripture and just ask you, how's it working for you? How's it applying to you? So many people say, oh, I believe, but is it working for you? So again, that's 9 a.m. East Coast time right there on the Preach the Word Network, or your direct TV or any other local TV channels that may carry inspirational talk shows. Brenda, do you have any special announcements before we move on?
And yes, I do. I have a very special sponsor that I definitely, a delicious sponsor that I want to just tell the listeners about. His name is Brother Geronimo. He is a pastry chef with Supreme Pastries and Things, LLC. And Actually, I have some treats. These are $5 a piece. You cannot beat this. They are all natural ingredients in all of these desserts. Also, and they are and they promise you. I promise you, your taste buds will be delighted. And so you got to get your order placed because they also deliver. So we have a carrot loaf, and I can't tell you, when I say all natural ingredients, you can taste the ingredients. The ingredients are also on each package of their desserts. Okay. We also have a apple crumb cake or crumb pie. I do apologize. An apple crumb pie. We also have, and I did not get all of them today. These are just a few that I've ordered. The best, oh my God, the coconut pie. Oh my goodness. We also have this is brand new. So he just made this one. This is a spaghetti squash pie. Spaghetti
I
squash.
love squash
Oh
pies.
my God. Not only that, but no, we're nothing. We have pumpkin. We got pumpkin pie, absolutely delicious. Butternut squash pie, absolutely delicious. We also have navy bean pie. We're not talking about custard, navy bean pie. And then many more. Now, I'm going to tell you, you cannot beat them. They're all, like I say, they are all natural ingredients. This is by Supreme Pastries and Things. Brother Geronimo is a pastry chef. Also, Brother Vincent Martin also is a part of that, as well as Brother Willie X Brown. So then you can reach and place your orders. Get your orders placed. I promise you, these desserts are absolutely delicious. And place your order today. You can call Brother Geronimo at 804 300 6733. Again, it's 804 300 6733. You can also send them an email and just let them know you want to place your order. You want to put in your order at J as in John 53 Rich RICH at gmail.com. Again, that's J53 Rich at gmail.com. And they also deliver. They deliver. There is a $5 delivery fee. And I will also say it will be dependent on uh, where you are as far as delivery fee. But they also deliver. They are freshly made, freshly made. So I want to encourage everyone to go out and support Supreme Pastries LLC. So I want to thank you for allowing me that. They are my sponsor. I am grateful. I am thankful for these brothers and what it is that they're doing. When we have businesses, when people take their gifts and they turn it into a business, this is what we need to continue to support. And I will continue to support what it is that they do. And I ask you all to please support these brothers because they are doing a magnificent work for all of us. So thank you very much, Ms.B, on that. And we can move on next.
She'll be highlighting them again on her other episodes and any other sponsors that she has. She'll be given the opportunity to mention them during the broadcast. They are in Richmond, Virginia. She mentioned that they deliver, but do they ship? Do you know if they ship out?
Well, that is something that we are actually talking about because that will be the next step is shipping it out. Yes.
Well, did you hear that means she's connected to her. She's just
Yes.
not a customer. She's helping them out a little bit, that little something, something.
Yes. Yes,
But
absolutely.
I'm telling you, my mouth was watering, but my shame of fame for fat is coconut. And when you said that coconut pie,
Ooh.
my calories, my blood sugar just went, yay!
Yeah, Miss B, I may have to take a ride and bring you one of my coconut pies.
Girl, y'all should have put herself out there. Y'all heard her, right?
I'm serious. I can jump in the car and just take her and bring it. and you're gonna say, "Give me the other one."
So I'm gonna put you out there because Miss Brenda is gonna surprise you all with another episode sometime this month. It may be next Sunday or whenever the opportunity comes up. But she's gonna have a second episode this month of A Leader's Voice with a totally different topic. So prayerfully, by the next time we come on, I could say that I've laid my lips on that coconut. Shame for fame, fat pie.
Yes.
Shame for fame. So it's not always about serious talk here. We have fun. Brenda is very important in my life in so many other ways, but I want to look forward to that coconut pie.
Oh, absolutely.
Hey, Chris said, have a good day. That means he's watching, but he can't say it. But thank
Yes.
you, Chris Allen. He's another one of the members of the Storm Talk 365 family. He has a video podcast slash comes on twice a month. Every other Wednesday, the first and third Wednesday of the month at 7 p.m., talking about issues of men, things that they don't really want to talk about. And a lot of times it cross genders. It talks about females as well. So that's again every Wednesday, every other Wednesday, first and third Wednesday of the month, 7 p.m. Chris Allen, author, poet, model, my son. All right, everybody. We done took a break away from Ms. Miller. I'm hoping she's having safe travels from where she's coming from. And we're going to move forward. Now, Brenda, I know you are your memory is great. If you could just recap what she said briefly about the responses to her minimal request, and then we move on to some more questions for you.
Well, the responses to their minimal request is they refused. They did refuse, or they're not taking responsibility. That's basically the bottom line. They're not taking responsibility for the fact of what happened to Celeste at the school. They did agree, and this when I say they, I'm talking about the attorneys. A lot of Virginia schools have the same attorneys. They work there. A lot of the districts work with the same attorneys, and the attorneys are very good about basically saying the very same thing, and that is they don't want the school itself or the employees to be held responsible, even when the child admitted what she'd done. So, but they will pay for her therapy. So but they have yet to even do that. They won't pay for the mothers, but they have paid for the daughters, but they haven't even done that. And that's unfortunate because once again, what they were asking for was minimal. Now, when Ms. Miller hired an attorney, the attorney did go a little further with basically the same request of asking for therapy to be paid, asking for Celeste to be removed out of the school and put into a school of their choice, and that was to be paid, and then asking for a small amount of damages, which that actually should have been taken care of personally as well. So once again, the attorney then came back and actually said the same thing, is that they are not going to take responsibility. They basically just repeated the same thing back to her, but they repeated it back to her attorney. And that is, they're not taking any responsibility. They will pay for therapy for Celeste, but they won't pay for anything else. So it just really takes the responsibility off of the school. This is why I say that something you have to put that pressure on, where if and like I said, this is where a lot of families don't know what other options they can take when police refuse to at least hold some responsibility, rather even on the parents, because these children are very young. I know that Anton Bell, the Commonwealth attorney there in the media, stated that he believed that the children, talking about Celeste and the other child, was too young to understand what they were doing. Well, kids today are very smart. First of all, when you're talking about learned behavior, you're talking about something that's being done to you. You're talking about a child that was smart enough to say, if you tell your mother, I will kill her. Okay. So in other words, who's to say that's not being said to that child? where she know that if she tells it, then she's going to get hurt. So she then and put it right back over on Celeste. Okay. So if someone is doing that to this child at home, and she went to school and did it to Celeste, and then threatened Celeste of the same type of a threat that she received. Okay. So for the Commonwealth attorney to say that this child didn't know what they were doing, or these two children, even talking about Celeste, didn't know what they were doing. Well, first of all, once again, you took responsibility. You didn't hold any responsibility for yourself. You didn't hold any responsibility for the school. And not only that, but not even the parents. One thing we won't know is, where's DSS? Why didn't DSS get called in this? We won't know that. It very well may have. But what could very well, and it still can happen because there is no time limit on that. But that's very well can happen. And let me be very clear, Ms.B. Let me be very clear about something. Regardless of what happens today, there is not a time limit of what happened to this child. This child has rights even when she turns 18 years old. So people need to understand that. Don't ever think that it's over, because it's not over until you say it's over. But that's very disheartening that the Commonwealth attorney didn't look at this, in my opinion, from his own words, a lot seriously. And that's why I gave Shannon Taylor, as I spoke at the school board in Hampton, I gave her kudos, because I never shared with Shannon, a Commonwealth attorney, Shannon Taylor, here in Henrico. Shannon Taylor, not only did Shannon Taylor reach out to me, but Shannon Taylor scheduled me to come into her office on Christmas that year when Elijah was sexually assaulted, because she understood what I was going through. She understood what Elijah was going through. She didn't know me from Adam, but she still reached out, and she still called me in to sit down with me to make an apology. And she called it out when the media did ask her. She called it out what it was, regardless if they actually acted on it or not. She still called it out what it was. Now, in my case, yes, I filed a protective order, and I did speak with Dr. Grant, which I absolutely adore her, because this woman, she is the middle school director for Henrico. She still is. And I absolutely love Dr. Grant. Dr. Grant called, I know, every day to check on my son. She called every day to make sure he was okay. She called every day to see what it is that she could do. And the request that I did make, she made it happen. Now, it was damaging to Elijah. Elijah was severely damaged. But it's not that she didn't act. And she brought Dr. Kinlaw in to sit down with me and Elijah. Now, Dr. Kinlaw was the superintendent here in Henrico. Unfortunately, I just felt that he was one of these type people. He really didn't respond very much. He was meeting him in person. He was really nice, which was shocking, because he just, he just didn't seem that way. But meeting him in person, he was very nice, and he was, he seemed very sincere about the circumstances, and he was in agreement with what I requested. So I would have to say that. So this is the direction in which should have happened in Celeste's case. The elementary education director should have reached out to the family. That is their job. That is really their job to do that.
You are representing them through National Action Network. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, I know there's only but so many questions I can ask, because we don't reveal but so much.
Right.
But let's hypothetically say there are other children out there who have been impacted by this child's behavior or other behavior, but the parents don't know what to do, or they run against a roadblock depending on what school system they're in. Could you give them a word of encouragement to step up in favor of that child, whether they're the ones who committed the crime, not the crime, the offense, or received the action or behavior? Because both sides are hurting and they don't know where to go.
Well, and you're right, and thank you for that question. And you're exactly right. Both sides are hurting. But let me say this: you have some families, the families that have a child that has been assaulted in some type of way. I want to definitely encourage you to understand that if the school doesn't act, you have rights to act. Don't just wait and hear back from the school. I hear that a lot. Well, I called the school, nobody returned my call. Well, no, then you take the next step. Because if you feel that it is a criminal act, then getting a protective order to protect your child is okay. Because you want to make sure that if you get a protective order, then let me remind you, the judge have to be able to give that protective order. So, but if it is a crime and it can be proven, whether by videotape and whether it's by the word of the child that committed it, regardless. And if you stress that I don't want my child around this child, and this is why I want a protective order. That protective order is going to last for a certain amount of time, and then it's going to go back to court. But before it goes back to court, you need to make sure that you have taken additional steps so that the judge can see and understand what has happened, if anything. Because if you don't do anything and you go back in there and it's all still the same, then if that drops, then you still going to be back at square one. So, and just remember, and also remember too, if in a parents, you got a lot of parents, and I will never forget this. I will never forget this. The parent of the boy that assaulted Elijah, that parent sat across the table from me, and this is what she said. And Shane is now an adult. Okay. She said Shane was only trying to be Elijah's friend. Yes. That's what she said. Shane was only trying to be Elijah's friend.
That goes to show you a lot of these children come from dysfunctional homes and don't
Yes.
even know they're dysfunctional. And that's
Exactly.
why I said that both families are hurting. I don't want to make light of the child who did this, because it's either a learned pattern of behavior, an acceptable pattern of behavior. Hurt people hurt people. She's probably replicating what has been said and done to her. But then again, there are a lot of deviances in mental health, a lot of untoward behavior who we can say that may need psychiatric help, and it had nothing to do with what actually happened to them. But either way, both families are hurting. So the next question for you is, Brenda, not only as a parent of a child who has been victimized, but as the president of the National Action Network chapter in Richmond. We have a few more minutes left. I would like for you to take this time to offer a word of, I'm not going to say advice, encouragement to not let the legal system discourage you, because a lot of responses to lawyers that are good old boy. Okay, they communicate with each other. Okay, well, if you say this, I'll say that. No, we're not going to do this. If you do this, you know what I'm saying? It's a good old boy system, both in the police departments and in the legal system.
And in the courts.
So if you could offer, and you know that firsthand, so if you could offer a word of encouragement for them not to give up. They may have to go out of state or out of their locality to get the representation that they need. Would you tell them how to proceed to do that?
Well, and thank you for that, because you are correct on that. And that's why you will, and people got to understand, What you just said, Benita, is so correct, because people will weigh you out. Oh, so if I don't do anything, if they don't do anything, they'll give up sooner or later. And then you have a lot of parents that will give up and not do anything. So I just want to encourage you just to first of all, first and foremost, stay engaged. Be engaged with your child's teacher. Very, very important. Um, and always remember one thing. When I did parenting classes with families, one of the biggest mistakes that I think parents make is, my child won't do that. Well, when you're not around your children, you don't know what your children would do. So, but be engaged with your child, so that even if you're the closest to your child and your child don't tell you, don't blame your child for that. Don't blame them. Say, why didn't you tell me? Well, you can say, why didn't you tell me? But you just basically want to say, you can tell me anything. You can
See,
talk to
I
me.
need to say that. I need to say that. I don't like interrupting you, but we as parents are not perfect. But one of the things that I encourage you to do is to seek counseling on how to be a better parent. Because if you don't know how to communicate to your child be hurt because you're hurt. Hurt people hurt people. And now we have victims of hurt people who may grow up hurting people. So your responses in a situation is vital as to how much they can overcome. You can never take words back. So when you fuss at them, it condemns them even more.
Nora,
Always show support by saying, you could have told me, you could tell me
That's right.
anything.
You can tell
Not
me
why
anything.
didn't you? Because then
Right.
they will tell you why. Obviously,
Right.
they didn't tell you for reasons that you may not want to hear, including somebody threatening to kill you if I said it.
That's right.
But always be mindful of how you respond to the children in a delicate situation. Put your emotions aside. Think about how would you feel if somebody responded to you in an aggressive, dismissive, or accusatory way. Don't make them feel like they've done something wrong because they've been wrong. I just had to say that's the minister in me coming out. So keep going.
But you were right, and I'm gonna tell you something else. You were right, and I want to encourage families to do this. I know a lot, especially in Black families, we got a very bad problem with therapy. I can't tell you how important it is to put your children in therapy at any time. At any time. Elijah happened to be in therapy for a long period of time because I knew Elijah was smart. I didn't want him falling through the cracks of the system. So it just so happened Elijah had already been in therapy. That was the best thing to be able to help Elijah through this whole ordeal, is because the therapy was already there. All he did is continue. I did have him in counseling and seeing a trauma therapist. So I actually did it. He had two therapists at that time. But see, the other good thing that was in place was that he had a therapist that could be able to say, no, I've been seeing Elijah for this many years. This is how Elijah was then. This is how he is now, since that ordeal has happened. So it makes a difference, because you're not gonna be able to take what a doctor say and pretend like it never happened. So they're not gonna, they can't get away with that. They can't do that. So I encourage families that we all have issues. We all go through problems. Trust me, as I do too. But if you can, that was one of the best things that you can do for your child, is have him, even if you only go once a month, have your children go into therapy. They can go in there and talk about what's going on in school, what when they're getting depressed, anything, but have them into some type of a therapy. Because even when children get in trouble in school, if they get in trouble in school, when you say, oh no, they have an outside therapist, guess what? The schools can't do anything except say, okay, well, you can refer. I'll talk to my therapist about it. I'll let them know. They have a counselor. I'll let them know. And then I'll give you an update. That's it. You are covered. A lot of people don't realize that. Your children, you have literally gave your child protection. without even unrealizing that your child has protection already. And because you can't all of a sudden put them in therapy and then they have to go through therapy for a while before you start seeing some results, because you don't even know if you're seeing results, because therapy takes a very long time depending on the circumstances.
I
So
just want to say, we have got about 5 minutes left. I just want to say to those who may not have the financial means, may not have insurance, there's a lot of obstacles that you may think cannot be overcome. But if you really are serious, there are avenues out there that you can qualify for to get therapy. And don't just put your child there. That's just like sending your child to church and they up there doing Sunday school and quoting scriptures and you out smoking weed and whatever. You got to be right there with them.
that's right.
You can't do as I tell them, do as I say, don't do as I do. That's double-minded and it's not going to work. So again, I know we're getting ready to leave, but it's very important that you listen to what Ms. Nikia Miller said. Brenda Coles, both are parents of children who have been impacted by this behavior. Also, Brenda Coles, National Action Network, if you have any questions about how to proceed or anything concerning your rights, avenues that may be available for you to seek counseling or to seek some type of I'm not going to say discipline, accountability from these school systems, and believe it or not, it happens in daycare. I've seen some horrific stories from children assaulting children sexually in daycare. So these households need counseling themselves. So a lot of people say, oh, you took prayer out of schools. Why are you going to pray in school and hell is at home? That ain't going to have nothing. It needs to be. Right. I just got to say that.
And you're right. And you're exactly right. When you do therapy, it's not just a child. It's the whole household. Is you. Everybody got to be involved, because trust me, we all have problems. A lot of people don't want to admit that. We all have problems. Therapy is good for everybody. It's a strength, not a weakness. And before we go, I also want to mention that on August the 21st, the Richmond, Virginia chapter will also be holding an evening with change makers banquet. Our host will be the fabulous Ms.B. We have Christian Bolar, 13-year-old two-time Stellar nominee, that will be giving us some music selections. We will have, for our dinner portion, we will have Angelicia Rogers out of New York. She is actually plays with the Lincoln Kennedy Center, and her boss is actually Wynton Marcellus, so we're looking forward to that. She will be giving us jazz during our dinner portion. For all members, it's free. All members is free. And so we will have some extra seats. We'll let you know if we have extra seats. It will be held at the event center at Sharon Baptist Church on August 21st at 5 p.m. We have a dynamite lineup, and our keynote speaker will be the Honorable Commonwealth Attorney for Henrico, Shannon Taylor. We are looking so forward to that. We got a great menu for everyone, and we're going to be having the desserts by yes indeed, our special desserts will be by Supreme Pastries and Things LLC. So I want to give out a sample. That's what I want to do, but we're going to see, because I want everybody to be able to taste the delicious desserts. So certainly keep your calendars open, NAN members. When you get your invite, RSVP. It will come through Eventbrite, but it will be free, just RSVP. And so, and for those that are interested in wanting to be on my guest list, please let me know. I do have a guest list that we will be inviting the governor and the lieutenant governor, and we're waiting until after the and the attorney general, and we will be waiting until after. Remember, we got elections on Tuesday, primaries. Please get out and vote. Very, very important. Please get out and vote. We are nonpartisan, so we will also be inviting, whether it's Democrats or Republicans, but we are a nonpartisan organization for our banquet. There will be some of our invited guests, but we want you as an invited guest as well. So reach out to me, and because I do have some space for invited guests. And but once again, I want to thank everybody for tuning in today, Ms. B. Thank you always for your wonderful, you just magnificent. Can't wait.
I can't wait either. I'm excited. I was going to ask you if you had any more announcements, but yes, that's exactly right. So please support our in-house, what is it, bakery chef? Is that what you call him?
No, his name is John. His name is Brother Geronimo.
I know, but what's his?
Supreme Pastries and Things LLC.
I know, but you call him. I thought you called him a bakery chef, a pastry
He
chef.
He is a pastry chef.
Pastry chef, that's it. Yeah, yes. Our in-house pastry chef. So hopefully by the time she does her second episode this month, I would have my shame to fame for fat coconut pie.
I'm going to take it down to her today.
Lord Jesus. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. And again, look up Miss Nikia Miller. She's on Facebook, and Justice for Celeste is also on Facebook as a group and a fan page. And if there's any word of encouragement or you want to sow a seed for financial support, please look her up. Thank you so much. All right, Miss Brenda. Thank you all so much. I'm excited about that doggone pie.
Yes.
All right. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.